My babies. So this is old school Mamiya 645, classic vintage camera. Really fond of this one. Medium format. I mean, all these cameras, most of them I don't use so much. Like this one, for instance, I don't think even works. But I used to take a lot of photos with this one. This was my go-to camera. Now this is a 35 or 135 millimeter lens, so it's not really easy to shoot something with it this close. But I mean, for me, using cameras like this, you're forced to, first of all, learn how to expose manually. All the stuff that you are pretty much going to touch is going to be manually. You have like the, you don't need to do it analog, but you have like the film type, if it's like ISO 400 or whatever it is. Like anybody that's taken photos knows all about this. But it's really nice to have that manual touch, because then you learn it much quicker if you use those types of cameras. But I think for me, what I really love, this size icon camera is pretty goddamn beautiful. Look at this, like the machinery of a thing like this. Ha! So pretty. Okay, so this is actually one of my favorite things that I discovered. This is a book that's called Frog Perspective. It's all kids taking the images with disposable cameras. Now it's a long time ago, I think in the 80s or something, that this was taken. But this is the concept of the book. How do kids look at the world? How close can you get to the kids' own experiences without any adult being in the background and controlling things? So what they did was then to give the camera to, like, I don't know what the youngest is, but I guess it's like 2 to 5 year old ish. Let me see if they say. No. But anyway, like these things is amazing, I think, because you have kids that are inventing narrative storytelling with photos, I'd say. So check this out. This is a 5-year-old that's taken this image. And there you go. Can you see? This is a 5-year-old that's taken this one. You know, all this is just like showing you how anybody, even a 5-year-old, innovate things within, you know, taking stills and all that. I mean, the compositions are, you know, unpredictable. Just looking at images like this can really help you to hone in on a style. And it's easier to do that within photography than it is in film, I think. This is one of my favorite photographers. I think I've shown him before, but Lars Thunbjörk. I actually had my first exhibition with him, so that was pretty big, because he's like he was a celebrity. He's dead now, rest in peace. But he is master of creating, you know, telling stories with just one image and composition and all that. So I guess all these photos, they really show you how, you know, compositions and telling stories are simplified into one picture, and that I think is key here, to look at photography in that way. Yeah, I guess that's all I wanted to say about this, but go out and take more pictures. And don't do it with an automatic camera like your iPhone, because that kind of sucks and ruins the whole workshop. Ice. bunch of naked people. More naked people. I guess that's what photography is sometimes. It's easier to get away with than in film. It's always porn, but this is a naked man fishing. Young Andre as a baby. Not a baby, but smaller. Still tiny though. I actually think that a lot of my style, it actually comes from the documentary, the photography, documentary photography, but especially from the analog photography. Because there's a character to those images that I used to take. Like these images has, you can't see in these, but they have a character that is also part of my grading style. So I probably tried to imitate how I took, analog still pictures. A lot of what I do, at least, I think is doing that. Yeah, this is actually quite fun to see. Dick pics. I would just have to blur them out, so I'm sorry you cannot see them, but yeah, they're there. Just know that, and I guess that's that. So today I don't do much analog shooting anymore. I used to develop everything myself in a dark room, and I used to, scan everything, but I don't think it's worth it anymore. But still, I really enjoy that type of photography, and I think that it's just that I know that if I do it like that, I will probably not develop it or something like that. I had like photos from my wedding that just, I think it laid for probably 10 years before I developed it, just because I'm too lazy in terms of doing analog stuff. So eventually I just sent it in and I got it developed. But either way, I think that it's a good experience to having shot on an analog still camera. So if you are thinking of taking up photography, or if you're already doing photography, try analog photography. It's really nice to variate what you do and what you shoot, and I think the analog style will develop your thinking, your creative thinking. As a cinematographer, as a filmmaker, it develops how you kind of think about all the exposures and all that. It's much easier to really force yourself to learn it that way. But the least you can do is use a manual setting on a camera, because auto will never take you into being a professional. It just won't. I actually made a book even as a photographer. This one. Your boy actually had some talent. Fashion. It's actually a documentary type of book. Kind of nice. It has this documentation of a creative area in Stockholm. Can't really buy it. It's like a commercial product actually. It was content marketing before there was content marketing, basically. This was marketing for a what is it called? Like a real estate type of property owner that was trying to develop this area where they thought that if we just brand the area with these creatives, the value will go up. So that type of thing. Basically, it's a bunch of my friends. All of us stayed in this cluster of creatives. Long time ago now, but yeah, kind of nice memory.